tell a tale of time. Every broken heart's a lesson dressed in quiet rhyme. Tangled heartstrings pulling tear, they guide us through the haze. Every note a melody that plays through all our days. Find the strength in every chord, the courage to let go. Life's a song we're writing slow through highs and every low. The river runs its course, it bends but never breaks, just like the choices that we make, the chances that we take. A violin begins to hum, it weaves a silver thread through symphonies of sorrow and the words we've left unsaid. Tangled heartstrings pulling tear, they guide us through the haze. Every note a melody that plays through all our days. Find the strength in every chord, the courage to let go. Life's a song we're writing slow through highs and every low. Yo, it's the echoes of the past, the lessons in the cracks. We're patching up the holes in all the love we lack. Life's a dance, a crazy chance to waltz beneath the moon. Keep the rhythm steady, cause the dawn is coming soon. So take a bow and play your part. No
morning. We just changed our Southwest flight to stay an extra day. Didn't have to pay a fee.
Beautiful. Our kids won't miss us. They're in Mima.
Mima.
We're in love! Again!
Change your flight without a fee. That's a big flex.
Life's a song we're writing slow through highs and every low. The river runs its course, it bends but never breaks, just like the choices that we make, the chances that we take. A violin begins to hum, it weaves a silver thread through symphonies of sorrow and the words we've left unsaid. Tangled heartstrings pulling tear, they guide us through the haze. Every note a melody that plays through all our days. Find the strength in every chord, the courage to let go. Life's a song we're writing slow through. Silver thread through symphonies of sorrow and the words we've left unsaid. Tangled heartstrings pulling tear, they guide us through the haze. Every note a melody that plays through all our days. Find the strength in every chord, the courage to let go. Life's a song erase the echoes of the past, the lessons in the cracks. We're patching up the holes in all the love we lack. Life's a dance, a crazy chance of walks beneath the moon. Keep the rhythm steady, cause the dawn is coming soon. So take a bow and play your part, no matter how it stings. The world will turn, the tune will change, but love's what always clings. The violin, it softly cries, the stars begin to fall. Through tangled heartstrings we will rise, we'll conquer after all. Tangled heartstrings pull and tear, they guide us through the haze. Every note a melody that plays through all our days. Find the strength in every chord, the courage to let go. Life's a song we're riding slow through highs and every low.
Welcome back to another week here on Tangled Heartstrings, where we try and help you navigate this crazy new digital dating world. Offer our opinions on a few taboo subjects. All right, TJ, Andrea, are you guys ready?
I'm ready. TJ?
Yes, I really enjoyed Untangling Heartstrings last week with a focus on financial stability, and I know this topic is just as juicy, and I hope it can help someone out there.
Ooh, I love that. I'm so excited to be back as well. And I also loved our topic last week about financial stability because I think it's super important to have that in your relationships and dating when you're looking for someone. And if you are starting to date, you definitely want to be in a good financial situation so you can help support and take care of each other, which is going to lead us to our first topic, you guys.
Yay!
I'm becoming an expert and I really wish I wasn't on this. We're going to talk money when it comes to online dating and what it can cost you other than your self-esteem, your, what else? Your low libido. I don't even know. All these things. It costs a lot of money. It can be very costly if you are paying for the app. So we were kind of talking about this, me and I, the other day, like, should there be an app where women don't have to pay and men do? DJ, you might want to chime in on this. You know, like when you go to a bar or something and they'll have like, you know, women get in free, but men have to pay. I think that's what you know,
I really thought about this and then I thought that what if they're looking for another woman?
Oh,
Who pays then? What if
all women are free?
What if they identify as a woman and they're identifying themselves as a woman on the app, looking for other women also? So then you come into the conundrum, but can we make it cheaper?
I wonder if that's why they stopped doing that in bars, because then you are kind of discriminating against the men and women.
Exactly.
Yeah. And if you don't know which way they lean, you are kind of doing that right off the bat.
You go.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys sound like DC dating nightclubs. Honestly, they make all us men pay, but definitely once we're in line with a bunch of women, they're like, "Oh well, never mind. You brought all these women with you."
Oh wow! I don't know that because I don't go to these dating bars and I'm not on these dating apps. But I'm wondering if maybe there is somebody out here in this universe that could make one that is cheap. You know, it's $1.99 a month. I would be willing, if I was in the dating world, to spend $1.99 to try to find my forever person.
Yes. Well, here's what I'll say, because I am basically an expert on the dating apps these days. So you can do all of them for free. You can do all of them for free. So there's a lot of pros and cons with paying and not paying. So if you're not paying, though, if you're doing just the free version of it, you basically get the free version stuff. So it limits you. You don't get any of the cute guys. You got to
Well,
pay
that's
for
the
that.
thing. When you're not paying for the app, you're not successfully using the app to date.
Yes.
Like
Well, they'll
lowering the
probably
standards.
argue.
Because
What's that?
they're going to pull your algorithm lower than what it could be if you were paying for the app. That's why I'm
Yes.
saying something cheaper.
Yeah, they'll
Something-
probably argue that. They'll say that that's not what they're doing, but
Of course.
yeah, they pretty much are. And they do throw in there sometimes they'll do like a like I might get a promotion where it might go, okay, see everyone who's liked you for $2.99 for 1 week. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's do that. And then it's like, okay, I'm just like, oh my God, this is what $2.99 gets me.
Right.
I'm in the bargain shopping area.
So maybe there needs, like, I know there are so many dating apps for so many different levels. There's millionaire dating apps, there's billionaire dating apps.
Yes.
There's people that are seeking somebody that is going to pay for their way in this world. And then there's just like, we're not affiliated, so do not take my opinion on this too far. But like Match.com, it's huge.
Yeah.
Everybody has been on that app at some point in their dating life.
Yes.
Field. But are they truly finding that special someone? I mean, I've heard of people getting married afterwards, but we never hear about the divorce rate from the dating apps. We always hear about the success rate.
Yeah.
And like, oh my gosh, we got married, but we don't hear that, hey, it really didn't work out because we weren't compatible, even though the app said we were.
Yeah.
And now 3 months later, we're filing for divorce, but we got to hide it from everybody because we put out there, hey, I met on the dating app and we're married now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always question those dating apps that have specialties like the billionaire, millionaire dating apps. Like, are we really meeting Jeff Bezos on there? If we wanted to, are we really meeting a Keely Godwin on there? If I wanted to, no, I don't think we are. I think we're still meeting regular people that want to pose as billionaires.
Well, the funny thing, TJ, is that I am on the Millionaire Match, and not because I'm like, which we can touch on later, I'm not a gold digger or anything. It's just a new app for new people. So I'm just excited about that. But I was starting to talk to somebody and my girlfriend was like, wait, does he think you're the millionaire? And I'm like, oh, shit, no, wait. I didn't think about that. I'm just assuming I'm the one looking for the millionaire, right? So
Andrea, the sugar mama.
What if these apps for like millionaires and billionaires, these sugar babies are getting on there, whether they be male or female?
Yeah.
These sugar babies are getting on here and not knowing that these men may not really be that rich, that they're just paying for this service.
Well, I think that's just in life general. People portray to be somebody that they're not all the time. But I do see, there's certain things that people say in there. I was talking to one guy and he asked me, he said that he's had a lot of women reaching out, and then in their conversations, their initial conversations, they'll be like, oh, I really need to get my nails done this week. They're hinting at all kinds of stuff. Now, I will say there are some profiles where these people are like, oh, I love to be out on my yacht in the summer. I'm in Paris and then Italy. And so you don't know what you're getting at all.
Right.
But that one I can't even afford to pay for, though. That app is so expensive. I mean, it's not really, but it's like $100 a month. I'm not saying that's outrageous, but to me, that's a lot,
How much is too much? How many dating apps are too many dating apps? How much money is spending on it every month? How can we economically live within our available means and still be on these dating apps, especially with the economy the way that it is today?
Yeah.
I mean, everything is jumping in price from day to day. I can go and buy eggs for $5.99 today, and tomorrow they can be $8.99 because a chicken farm got raided by animals or whatever. Things change daily. So how many apps are too many apps? How much is too much money?
Well, I think Go ahead.
Go ahead, Andrea. I was gonna say I had more questions for you, Andrea, about these apps. Like, what did you have to go through to get on this? Like, are they asking you if you're a millionaire? Do you own $1 million home?
No.
Like
No, they're not. They don't ask you. It's what now you can actually on that particular site, Millionaire Match, they do have specific filters that you get to fill out, and they have certain verification processes, because I have seen on certain photos at the top it'll say millionaire verified.
Oh, okay. So
showing
you
your
can
bank
get verified on
statements?
the app.
Yeah, you can
Wow.
actually see that. But there's some things, like I said, so it's pretty much free across the board. Like I don't pay on any apps. But what I might pay for is if it's like you can buy on Hinge, for example, you can buy roses to give to somebody. Now, those roses are going to stand out a little bit more than just you liking someone's photo or making a comment. So it's kind of like you're giving them, hello, I really, really like you.
Right.
So Hinge gives you one free rose a week. But then what they do is they have what they call their stardom section, which is their people that are, they're top notch kind of people. And you can only message them if you give a rose. Well, then sometimes I'm like, oh, I like him, and I like him. So I might at times buy 3 roses for $9.99, and then I'll use them when I want. So I'll be open to doing little things like that. Now, if I calculated how much I've spent over the years since I've been divorced, it's no wonder I'm not a millionaire.
My question though is, when you're not paying for the apps and you get these waves and you get these checks, or people swipe left on you and you're not paying for the app, you're not utilizing the apps for what they are for at that point. You're utilizing the apps basically to make friends, because you fill out this compatibility questionnaire, and they're trying to find compatible people for you. But when you're not paying for them, then you're diminishing your algorithm at that point.
Well, we could also argue that they are actually not doing anything different if you pay than if you aren't, because it's all perception, right? I can sit there and go, oh, maybe I should pay and I'll get a better round of guys or something. But then maybe you don't. Maybe it's just like they're making you think, oh, if you pay, you're going to get these extra things. Now, you do get to set different filters. Like, I'm a tall girl. I like a tall man. This has been a big controversy with me saying this on my own podcast, but I like a tall man, and I'd like to set a filter of like 6 feet and over or 5'11" and over, because I will say they all round up. So if they're putting that they're 5'11", they're only 5'10". Okay.
Whoa! I gotta stop you there. I'm a 5'11" man. Short kings still matter out here. Honestly.
You're gonna put that you're 6 feet tall instead of saying you're 5'11", because we all want to round up, and then you get there and you're like wah wah, because they're not what they say they are.
Okay, so TJ, have you been on a dating app, and have you done that? Have you said that you're taller, or maybe even older or younger than what you really are?
I want to say back in my heyday, I did. Of course, everyone started Facebook in like 2000s, and I definitely said I was a lot older than I was, just to make myself stand out. But then there was also, I believe this thing was like called Taboo or something like that. I don't remember the specific. Badu, yes.
Badu.
And I was telling people I was like Trey Songz's cousin, just to get by. So there was some different things that I did here and there, but sometimes it still didn't work to my success. I still was failing a lot of times, but the ones I did get, I was like, hey, nice to meet you. Too bad you're in Texas.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that those girls were much shorter than what they claimed to be, so that way it was equal. They said they were 5'6" instead of 5'3".
Yeah, exactly. That just messes it up too.
I will be honest with you, and this is just my opinion. When you're on dating apps, I don't think you should diminish your age, whether it be up or down. I don't think you should diminish your height. And I don't think you should use filters. Those 3 things are important, because you're trying to find that special someone. Unless you're on Tinder or, Well, I won't name them because I might get in trouble for naming them. But anyways, if you're on those like one night stand apps, get it. Do what you want. Catfish the hell out of people because that's what everybody else is doing. But if you're truly looking for someone, I feel that we need to be our most authentic self when trying to seek somebody, because that's what we're looking for, is honesty and authenticity.
But what happens, Mia, and this was one of the poll questions that I saw, is it okay to lie about your age on the dating apps? And one of the frustrating things is, okay, when you go into every one of these dating apps, it asks you what your birth date is. Somebody will put in the wrong one. You cannot change it. Once your birth date is in there, you cannot change it. You would have to delete your account and restart over. So I can't tell you how many times people say it in their profile. I try. It's not my real age. They won't let me change it. I don't know why it's not my real age. You know why it's not your real age.
Because at 18, 19, 20, you decided that you needed to be 30, 35 so you can get those older people with the financial stability that you're looking for.
Yes. But it also goes the other way, because you have older men maybe that are like in their late 50s, early 60s that are still healthy, attractive, fit, looking for a woman that is also healthy, attractive, and fit. But somebody maybe that is 60s as a woman, they're like, no, I just want 50. So they're going to put their age a little bit lower in order to get the algorithm.
Then again, we're looking at when we establish that emotional connection or that sexual connection, and we're 18, 19, 20, and our 45-year-old finds out this and they're like, oh hell no, we ain't doing this no more.
One feature I really did appreciate,
cut off, not gonna happen.
One feature I did really appreciate about Tinder was, the age range you were looking for, where you can, put it as low as possible or put it as high as possible, and find that perfect one around those age ranges if you wanted to. But I don't like when people lie about their age, because you try to get into a nightclub and this 19-year-old's with you pulling out a fake ID. I'm like, oh, excuse me.
You're both hopping out of line at that point.
Honestly, I'm just gonna go in without you.
we're going to move forward from this and talk more about honesty, because it's also important while we're on these dating apps, remembering to look for red flags for scamming. It's important because there are a lot of scammers out there. They will create that emotional connection with you and then be like, okay, well, my car broke down. My house caught on fire and I need financial support. But they know that you're financially stable. They know that you can afford this. And sometimes you can't, but you've created such a hard emotional connection with this person that you feel bad for them and you feel obligated to help them. And what they do is, I found a Reddit where they talk about it a little bit, though, and it's called, what was that one? How does crypto scamming on dating apps work? All right, guys. So I thought this one was really important when it comes to dating apps, because the scamming with cryptocurrency happens so often. Not only dating apps, on social media also, but we're going to focus definitely on the dating app aspect of this. So they create this emotional connection with you, and then they decide that their life is going to fall apart, and they're going to ask you to send them cryptocurrency because they're not actually in America. They are playing soldiers. They are playing reporters who are living in different countries. They're playing students who live in different countries. And these are grown-ass people who just love to scam people because they can make money off of it. So they're not asking you to send them US currency or Australian currency or even a British pound. They are asking you to send cryptocurrency because of the exchange rate. They're going to con you into being like, okay, I'll go ahead and buy, $70 worth of Bitcoin and send it to them because they need a new tire. And it's super cheap in the country that they're in. So you're going to send them $70 worth of Bitcoin over to them, and they're going to take that $70 and add it to the $120,000 that they got from other people that day. Because that's what they do. They sit on the computer, they go through dating apps, they go through social media, and they're going to find anybody that is vulnerable. And we're all vulnerable when we're dating because we want to find that emotional connection with somebody, because we're not meant to be single. We're not meant to be alone. We're meant to be in a community with loving people, and that's what we seek. So once you make that emotional connection with them, they're going to be like, okay, I need this, this, and this. And they're just going to drain you of your savings. They're going to drain your bank account that you're living paycheck to paycheck for.
That's so scary.
It is. It's really scary, especially when you're seeking that special someone and somebody is playing with your head.
Yes. Yeah. I've never had anyone ask me for money or anything. There has been times like I'm not going to try to say that I can sniff it out because I can't, but there's certain things to look for. And they talk about like the AI bots that are, somebody's using that today. I read an article and somebody said that if they use that dash, they were saying EM dash. I don't know if that was the whole thing, but the way the dashes were placed within the conversation, that was a big indication that it was probably an AI bot that was doing that, which is just insane to think that you think you're talking to a human being and now you're talking to like a robot. Like, this is like crazy to me.
I think that if we really truly pay attention to what we're reading and look at the context of what's being typed, I really think that it's more sophisticated than the human being. It can use the context completely differently than a human being can because it understands more. So I think if we truly look at the context of what we're reading and pay attention to it, I think we can weed out those AI bots on our human brains. I don't think that it would be that difficult, especially if you know what to look for.
Yeah.
The AI robots usually are lacking, some emotional connections. So I guess if you're asking, how's your day and things of that nature, just to kind of get a little deeper in conversation with them, you'll most likely be able to weed them out. I found that in my explorations.
And I know that when we run into these scammers and we've hit that emotional block because we found out that we've been scammed, or even maybe catfished, that, hey, it wasn't this 6'3" buff guy, or, she didn't really have 36 double D's. You know what I'm saying? When we find out that these people aren't real, it can really, really play a rough spot in our mental health. It can cause us to go into a depressive state. It can cause us to really have mental health issues and then look at ourselves and be like, well, was it me? Was I stupid for being vulnerable? Absolutely not. These people say exactly what you want to hear. These people are probably very well versed in psychological manipulation. It's very important. These people are trained to do it. They are sitting in an office. They're not sitting in their homes. They're sitting in an office doing this to people. It's a company.
If you think about it, there's an entire show called Catfished.
Exactly.
There's enough.
Honestly, I thought we were past all this. I don't know if you guys ever heard about the Tinder swindler, the one that was bribing older women off of their money. So I just don't think we should have any money involved. when we're doing this online dating thing.
I agree with you. I agree. I don't think that we should dating apps, yes, to a point, but when it comes to sending money that you've never met, that keeps promising you that, hey, I'm going to be back in the country next week and we'll be able to see each other, and you send them that money and the next day they ghost you, that's going to play a huge part in your mental health.
And I will say that the dating apps do try to control it, I think, as best they can, because they do. If you say, it's like keywords in there. If you say like, well, do you want to call me? It'll like pop up and say, hey, before you give out your number, make sure you trust this person, this person, or you can actually do some of that stuff like right through the app. Now you don't actually have to give your own phone number. You could also do a Google Voice number and get a different number. But you can also do video calls and phone calls through the app. So I think also it'll come up with like scam stuff. Sometimes it might pop in and go,
that's if this person's been caught. That's only if the person's been caught. They may have made a new profile the next day after they got caught and have been verified.
Yes.
And then, they're starting all over again.
Yeah. Because I've literally had
people to get scammed first.
Yeah, I've literally had where I've been talking to somebody, having a conversation, and apparently I'm not as intuitive to catch on to the scam. And all of a sudden they're gone, right? And so of course my first thought is, oh, wait, they unmatched me? What happened? And then I'll get like an email or notification from the dating app saying, we've removed this person from your match because they have been, shown to be a scammer in the past. So, I mean, I get it. They can't catch everybody. So we have to do our due diligence to really try to figure that out and weed through it all. And like you said, to kind of find keywords or find things that trigger to us, like this person's a no-no.
Honestly,
they're not even AI bots. Sometimes they're human beings. These aren't necessarily human, so they know how to word these things. And the only reason I keep iterating this is it's important to remember, just because they catch them once doesn't mean they're going to continue to catch them, because here in the US, we cannot, and I know this for a fact, we cannot pursue cryptocurrency like that. Like cryptocurrency crimes, we cannot pursue those the way that we need to be able to, because there's no tracking of the cryptocurrency. That's why there's no exchange rate. There's really no regulations on the cryptocurrency until somebody reports them.
Yeah.
So it's important that if you suspect somebody of scamming, do your due diligence, and if you truly think that they're a scammer, report them. Or if you've been scammed out of money, make sure that you're reporting that to these dating apps, because it's not only going to happen to you, it's going to happen to other people also. Once they've been successful with you, they know it's possible and they can continue on that success rate.
Honestly, this might be a hypothetical in my head, but I also think some of them might be working for these dating apps in a grand scheme. You have someone that's over in India, working on Tinder, that on their side they're fixing all the technical problems for Tinder, but then on the other side they're scamming people on Tinder. So I think as far as us using dating apps, we should be careful on which dating apps we are using also.
Yeah. And then also another big thing to watch out for is when they try to get you to come off the dating app, and they're like, a big thing is they'll go, I'm not on here very much, or this app is a little like annoying. How about we switch to WhatsApp? And you're like, well,
don't ever use WhatsApp.
Yeah. Or they'll say, or Kick or something else. And you're like, well, okay, wait. So how is that any different? If you're too lazy to just get on this dating app to talk to me, to establish a connection and everything, what are we doing anyway? So you really got to watch it. I always go, why am I going to get off this app to go talk to you on a WhatsApp? Because WhatsApp, they obviously can't track anything because it's all Wi-Fi based.
All right, guys. I really, really want to hit on these two things really quick. So we're talking about cryptocurrency, we're talking about dating apps, we're talking about all of the pros and cons of these things. There are two things that you also want to look for. They're not necessarily bad. It depends on what you are looking for yourself. Are the gold diggers and the goal diggers. There is a difference. A gold digger is somebody who is coming to you for financial support, to support their entire lifestyle because they enjoy your lifestyle. They don't have the funds to do it their own. And then we will, and then we'll talk about the gold diggers. Gold diggers are looking at what kind of a job you have. They're looking to move up in this world, but not as a financial burden to you. What they're trying to do is move up in this world as maybe they started as your assistant and they're willing to do whatever possible, get into a relationship with you to move up that corporate ladder. It's not necessarily for your funds, it's what kind of funds they can make while dating you. They want to be financially stable on their own. They're just not necessarily using you as long as you agree and the communication is there and you both agree to these type of relationships. There's no issue with them. It's when you catfish somebody and hey, I want to be with him because he's worth $3.8 billion. So he can financially support the lifestyle that I'm seeking. I cannot afford that on my own. So I'm going to get into a romantic relationship. When it becomes a problem is when you're trying to get that financial support, but you're not willing to give anything up for that. You're not willing to give the love. You're not willing to try to love this person. You're not willing to even lay in the bed with them. You're not willing to have a conversation with them. That's when those kind of dwindle down. So communication is important. And I think honestly, for a true gold digger, I'm using quotes because this is at a point where you both have completely agreed to doing it. You both agree to it. I think an open relationship at that point would be best because then, you both agree to that financial aspect of your relationship, but there's no emotional or sexual connection there. So opening up and having an open marriage or an open relationship when living in that gold digger lifestyle may even make that relationship more successful because you're both getting the emotional and sexual from somebody else. And that financial stability is both there for both of you.
Yes, very true.
I believe there needs to be like a scientific study done on, sugar babies and gold diggers, because I really wonder how they're making their decisions day to day. Like, what happens to their brain chemistry when someone's saying yes or no? Like, are we leaving because like that person says no, and then we're coming back if they're like yes 2 seconds later? Like, in my head, how I cannot fathom that. And I'm wondering on the flip side of things, does the provider like fear like daily if someone else is out there, doing better than he can? Like, honestly, it would be too much of a burden on my heart to have a sugar baby.
Well, I think to answer your point there, TJ, I think that when somebody is the actual provider in the gold digger situation, they are very confident. They're very confident because they know what they bring to the table. They know why. If you have a man, well-established older man that has a very young girlfriend and he's doling out money and taking care of all her every needs, they feel very secure in that because there's not a lot of people that are willing to do that, so there may not be any sexual connection there for her. I mean, probably there is for him, but I think they just get by on knowing this is what I bring to the table. I take care of this. I take you to fancy places and we fly all over the place and we, do these fun, fancy things all the time. And I think that's what holds them there.
I think, honestly, they feel obligated to have sex. And I think with open communication.
You mean the younger one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or the one that
they feel more the one struggling financially.
I would feel obligated. If
Right. I would feel obligated too. And that's why it's important for the open communication and maybe even the open relationship at that point. Because yes, as a human being, we feel a sexual need. And, you know, sometimes that can put us in a bad mood and can cause relationship issues. But when it's a financial based relationship, nobody should feel obligated to have sex with anybody. If they are not sexually attracted to somebody, I don't feel that sex is important in that part. It's very important when having that financial relationship and starting out financially. Both parties either need to be willing to have an open relationship, or they need to be willing to work towards creating that emotional sexual bond.
But again, communication is huge, because if you're coming into it and the one guy is knowing, or woman, it could be guy or girl, knowing that they are supporting their partner in every way financially, and they're expecting something in return, and then the other one's just like, no, I'm not doing that. You know, that you have to have that conversation, because I think that they should have the opportunity to go, hey, this is what I'm giving to you, and this is what I'm expecting from you. So if they don't have that conversation, there's a problem. And how do you? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was wondering, you know, how much is too much in like a gold digger situation, also, because it's like, how much money are you really willing to spend? Like, am I buying you a Bugatti tomorrow and you're not giving me any cookie? Like, what is really going on here? Like, how
good does the cookie have to be to get a Bugatti?
These men think that they're supporting you financially. There's been no communication. So they go out and they buy the new car, they buy the new diamond bracelet, and they bring it home, and they expect that emotional sexual connection when they bring that home, because they get off on buying these things for these women or men. You know, women get off on it too. Like, being able to financially support somebody and being able to financially support somebody throughout their entire life, and be able to afford and be able to give these expensive gifts, it's a turn on for them.
Yeah.
You know, and we never talk about that aspect of it.
Oh,
I've always hated the guys that love to, you know, show off their woman that is 20 years younger than them, and they're really never touching them at home. I always hated those guys.
But don't you feel maybe they've earned it a little bit if they've worked so hard all their lives and they have this great successful career they've built? Shouldn't they get maybe a little trophy wife to show off a little?
I mean, not if you're not creating a legacy behind it. Like, I really want to see a legacy behind those.
Yeah, it's hard.
Lesson dressed in quiet rhyme, tangled heartstrings pull and tear, they guide us through the haze. Every note a melody that plays through all our days. Find the strength in every chord, the courage to let go. Life's a song we're writing slow through highs and every low. The river runs its course, it bends but never breaks, just like the choices that we make, the chances that we take. A violin begins to hum, it weaves a silver thread through symphonies of sorrow and the words we've left unsaid. Tangled heartstrings pull and tear, they guide us through the haze. Every note a melody that plays through all our days. Find the strength in every chord, the courage to let go. Life's a song we're writing slow through highs and every low. Yo, it's the echoes of the past, the lessons in the cracks. We're patching up the holes in all the love we lack. Life's a dance, a crazy chance to waltz beneath the moon. Keep the rhythm steady, cause the dawn is coming soon. So take a bow and play your part, no matter
Are you someone that sleeps? Our studies show you likely are. Designed for side sleepers straight out of the box, the Pillow Fight Haymaker Loft can be adjusted for back or stomach sleepers in mere seconds. Look at your current pillow. Face it, it's nasty. Our competition uses these cheap blobs of foam that just aren't comfortable or supportive. Pillow Fight's proprietary noodle-shaped foam blend rebounds quickly for maximum cool, comfort, and support. Oh yeah. Our naturally cooling cover will have you dreaming in no time. Handmade in the USA. Pillow Fight. Invest in your rest.
Walking down a winding road, I see the sun that glows in every crack, in every stone where wildflowers grow. The whispers of the wind, they tell a tale of time. Every broken heart's a lesson dressed in quiet rhyme. Tangled heartstrings pulling tear, they guide us through the haze. Every note a melody that plays through all our.
Hey guys, I don't know if you noticed, but we are starting a new little interactive poll. We would love your participation when they pop up. Go ahead and type your answer into the chat and we will find out the poll results soon. I know we have all heard of a sugar daddy, but what is it really? Would you be interested in a financial-based relationship, and what are the real pros and cons? We get this confused with gold diggers and gold diggers. Sugar daddies are completely different type of people. Most of the time, they really just want that companionship connection. They want to be able to buy you the gifts and send you on these trips. They want to go with you, of course. And yes, most sugar daddies do expect a little sugar on the side. So, you know, when it comes to financial relationships with gold diggers and gold diggers, they don't always expect that emotional and sexual connection. But with sugar daddies, they're spending a lot more money on you. They're willing to hand you their wallet and tell you to go to the store and buy whatever the hell you want. But there is a small problem if you have children. Sometimes they want to meet your kids. I found a Reddit that I thought was really important for this. And I think it's one of the biggest, huge red flags there is. Should we really introduce our kids to these sugar daddies? I mean, honestly,
that's a tough one. When is too soon? I guess it depends on what the relationship is.
I don't know. So, sugar daddies, are they good or bad? I think that sugar daddy relationship is completely different than a gold digger, because these men already know what they're getting into. They are 100% seeking it. There are websites that you can sign up for. I am not going to name any of them because it is up to you to find them if that's the type of relationship that you're looking for. There's usually not really an emotional connection there. Mm-hmm. These sugar babies know that they're expecting the sugar. So the emotional connection is really not needed. The companionship, yes, they're seeking that companionship, but sugar babies don't have to have that emotional connection. Are the sugar daddies going to get emotionally connected? Most likely.
Yeah.
But they know that when they have this sugar baby, that this is a limited time opportunity. They are going to provide whatever financial support they can in that little window that these sugar babies offer. Most of the time, these are gorgeous, gorgeous women that are doing this, are super young men that are seeking to get a little bit of financial support, and they're looking to pay for college. They're looking to, instead of becoming a stripper or a prostitute, they're choosing the sugar daddy route, so that way they can still financially afford the college. They can take those extra classes. They can finish earlier. So they're being able to pay for these things plus get a little extra.
Well, what's the limit on that? Okay, so if we look at that particular Reddit, so she basically said that he, they got together the first night. I think she said he put gas in her car or something, and then she gave him some sugar. And then she went back to him and he basically said, hey, I can't take care of your whole lifestyle. I can't give you like an allowance, but like I'll give you money to go to dinner tomorrow night or something like that. So what's the limit there? Because to me, that doesn't feel or seem like a sugar daddy situation. Yeah.
And I'm so glad you brought that up, because at this point, this is we know it's a man. So we'll say this is a man that has gotten onto a site or social media and promoted himself as a sugar daddy who cannot financially afford to be a sugar daddy.
Yeah.
Sugar
like
daddy
sugar uncle
that have an enormous amount of finances and can provide you whatever you desire. When these men come on here and say, or even women sometimes, and say, oh, I'm a sugar daddy, but I can only send you $200 a week. That's not an allowance.
No. So
that is not a sugar daddy allowance.
Verifying.
Right, exactly.
Verify the millionaire. They need to verify and state what constitutes being a sugar daddy. I don't know. Like, to me, when I think of that, you are taking care of all their means. Like everything they're taken care of. You've got them in a nice apartment. You have them a nice car. You're taking them to dinner. You go somewhere, you're sending them a dress. Like, I think of Richard Gere.
Exactly.
Woman,
you want to take me to dinner? You're going to buy me a new dress. You're going to buy me new shoes. I need a new handbag, and let's get some jewelry to match.
Yeah.
That's a sugar daddy.
Yeah.
And this is not you asking for it.
Right.
This is him saying, hey, we're going out to a really nice restaurant. I may have bought you an outfit last week, but I really think you deserve a new dress. Yeah. And this is something that these men and women think you deserve just for being you. There's not a huge connection there. They just find you that attractive that, you deserve this. And then we got to think about, okay, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, we're on X, we're on Facebook. And then you get this bombard of, hey, I was just wondering if you had ever thought about being a sugar baby, or, hey, how does $200 a week sound? Or, hey, how does $5,000 a week sound? You're getting these bots or maybe human beings that are offering to be your sugar daddy, but they have no financial, they're trying to get your money.
Yes.
And this brings back to the cryptocurrency. They're going to ask you for the cryptocurrency because of the exchange rate, because they're in another country.
I can admit I've run into that plenty of times on social media.
You're the sugar daddy?
Well, no, these women, these fake apps are asking me if you want a sugar mommy. And then
there you go.
They're like, let's talk to you, but I got to take you through this verification process where you're paying $30 just to talk to me. And I'm like,
there it is. That's where it all starts.
I'd rather just FaceTime.
I know.
And
then
it
gives me anxiety thinking about it. Like the thought of, like when men will, if they buy me something nice, it's like immediately I think, oh, what am I going to have to do for that? And that just gives me anxiety.
But these women don't think the same way you do.
No.
these women are
They're
looking
thinking,
to,
what do I get to do?
right, they're looking to get their things paid off. They're, you know, they just bought a new car, or maybe he had given her a car and he's paying the car note every month. They're not looking at it as I feel obligated to do anything, because they know when they're on these sugar daddy websites or sugar mommy websites that they know what is expected. You know, those things are always talked about in the beginning. Those things, and I'll be honest with you, sugar daddies and sugar mommies are amazing, true ones, not these scammers, are amazing communicators. Absolutely amazing communicators, because how in the hell else are they going to successfully have this type of relationship?
I don't know. Do we look at differently for a sugar daddy as opposed to a sugar mama?
No, because they all come out of the woodwork. You can say that you're on your profiles, you can say that you're bi, so you're looking for a sugar mommy or daddy, or you can say that you're lesbian, so you're looking for a sugar mommy as a female. If you're a male, you can say, hey, you know, I'm gay or I'm bi, and you can look for male or female, or you can look for male sugar daddies.
But
So
I mean,
it's all inclusive when it comes to your identifying sex. Once you identify yourself on these apps, you'll be able to identify what type of relationship, whether it be a sugar mommy or a sugar daddy relationship.
But I'm also referring to the perception of, how do we perceive a sugar daddy as opposed to a sugar mommy? Do we look at that differently and go, okay, yeah, but she's taking care of the guy instead of the guy taking care of the girl? Do we see that differently?
I think, honestly, I don't see either relationship being a problem. And this is my personal opinion. I think each their own, and love who you love. Do what you need to do to make a happy life for yourself. Just because I may not agree or do the things that you're doing doesn't mean that I need to have an open opinion on it and share that opinion with you. I think it's important that we all live our lives to be happy. And I think that we need to remember that when we are living our lives to be happy, the only opinion that matters is your own opinion.
Honestly, I think there should be a show called like The Fall of the Sugar Baby, because like, what happens when they lose all of this? Where do they really go? You know, I understand they might go looking for another one, but the show should be able the process of that fall from the other, and you know, when you get the new one.
So then what happens to your mental health at that point?
That is very true.
Hey, Drake, Precious, April, Madison, we see you guys, but this discussion is really interesting and we are in it.
Yes. Thank you for joining us. Oh, a lot of fun.
TJ, I want you to talk about a little bit about mental health, and because I know that you're a mental health advocate, how do you think being a gold digger, and being in this sugar baby, sugar mama, or sugar daddy, sugar baby relationship, how can that affect our mental health?
Honestly, maintaining a good mental health for yourself is one thing that you must rely on before getting into a relationship, because your mental health is contagious, whether it's positive or negative. It affects the people around you on various levels. You know, some of you may never even learn about the levels that it's affecting the other people on, but if you're on the positive side of, you know, your mental health stability, you're bound to garner a great smile and a truly 50-50 emotionally driven relationship, where you both can feel great to provide each other's stability for the relationship, and both people gain happiness and joy from that. But if you enter it on the negative side of things, you're bound to be greeted with a smile, but behind that smile, they're still questioning your true intentions on how long their happiness and joy can be before it dissolves away.
I agree. And this is when communication, and we will talk about so much on the show, is communication. I've been married for 24 years, and I know that the only way that we could have been successful in this marriage is with both of us being so openly willing to communicate our wants, needs, desires, and our problems. So on this show, I really like to focus on communication, and when we're entering into relationships, it can affect us mentally, but communicating that with our potential partner or maybe our current partner is very important also. Communicating that with your therapist or maybe even a friend, because you can't do a therapist. I don't do therapy because it doesn't work for me, and that's okay. I have other people that I can confide in when I'm having a mental breakdown or maybe even just a depressive episode. So you don't need to have somebody, but it's important to have somebody.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, isn't there? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think it's really great that you and your husband have that open line of communication.
We didn't in the beginning. We didn't
Yeah.
communicate at all in the
Oh.
beginning. The first 5 years of our marriage was me kind of running things. And I was a very type A personality. I had OCD really bad, and I had to work through those things myself in order to be able to openly communicate with my husband. We didn't do therapy. We went through a really, really rough spot. Talked about divorce, talked about splitting up, you know, and those were all words coming from me because I wasn't happy.
Yeah.
So really taking a look at myself and finding out where I am in my mental health journey and finding out where he is in his mental health journey. And I say that as we are constantly going through our mental health journey, especially women. I know men have that issue too, but it's more women because we're 4 different people during the month. During our ovulation cycle and everything, we're 4 different people. We change so much within a month. And if we're not looking at those things, it can put us into a bad mental spot.
Yeah.
So being able to openly communicate and figuring out how to do that was a struggle. But now that we've figured it out, we're like, why in the hell were we ever at that point?
Yeah.
You know, why didn't we communicate in the beginning, and why didn't we try to make this successful from the start?
And how is he lifestyle wise compared to you? Is he pretty tame, or is
he is so quiet and reserved. Like, we are complete opposites. When they say opposites can't work, yes, they can.
Yeah.
Me, I was going to ask you earlier, isn't there a way for people to connect with someone if they are, you know, dealing with a mental health crisis?
Absolutely. If you are dealing with a mental health crisis breakdown, or you just don't feel like yourself, go ahead and use the number 988 to either call or text. I learned last week. There will be somebody there to answer the call or the text, and it'll be somebody that you can talk to. If you are having any thoughts that you need to harm yourself, call immediately. Absolutely, 100% immediately. I am a survivor. We are working on almost 4 years now, which is amazing. I did not know about 988 when I was going through my mental health crisis. I ended up in a mental institution for 14 days. It was really bad. And after that, I have been successfully happy. If I did not, and I'll be completely honest with you, if I did not start cannabis and smoke that morning, I wouldn't be here.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Well, we're happy you are.
Thank you.
Especially because Steven here needs help finding a sugar mommy.
So let's talk self-care tips, because this is a big thing in my mental health journey, is making sure that you are taking care of yourself before you take care of anybody else. I'm a mom of 5. I spent a lot of years worrying about my kids over myself, worrying about my husband over myself. When the last 3 years, I have taken the opportunity, because I have a supportive husband, and I have told my kids no, I have told my husband no, and I get my nails done every month. I get my hair done when I need to get it done. I go on spa days. It's important to take care of yourself. If you can't financially afford that, There are recipes online to make face masks. There are bubble baths that you can make with your shampoo or your body wash. You don't have to have the expensive bubbles. You can go to the dollar store and grab a couple candles. They don't have to smell good because that body wash already does. Set some candles in there. Take a long bath. Get some waterproof headphones if you have them. If not, turn the music on low. And even use a sound bath, background noise. It's so important to take care of yourself, especially if you're on these dating apps, because they can play such a negative role. We are dealing with getting rejected every single day by people that we find attractive, but they don't find us attractive. And that's okay, because every person has what they want in mind. But we also have to think about, what if this person isn't as attractive as the next person, but their personality is absolutely fucking amazing. They are everything you're looking for, but you are not sexually attracted to them. Do you think that you could possibly create a sexual attraction with them?
They say that attraction can grow over time, and I do believe that the more you get to know someone's personality, the funnier they get. You see a different side of them. They can definitely become more attractive to you. For me personally, in my marriage that I am no longer in, I just didn't have that sexual attraction to my ex-husband. We were more like roommates and like friends. So I crave that. And so I knew coming out and starting to date, like that was the number one thing for me. And so it is for me about the sexual attraction and finding somebody that I have the chemistry with and that I can really enjoy being with in that way. But as the years have gone on, I will say that has diminished a little bit, and I'm starting to enjoy the compatibility instead of the chemistry so much, which has been really, really nice to see. But when you're on these dating sites, that's all you kind of have to look at, because we just talked about how much scamming and stuff there is in the profile. People are saying, oh, I'm looking for a long-term relationship, when they're really not, because they're just trying to hook you in. So all you have to look at is pictures and see, like, okay, what am I looking for here? And you're looking for that sexual chemistry right off the bat. That's where it starts.
Yes, I agree. Sexual chemistry does start off right off the bat. That's how we find our dates.
Yep.
But should sexual chemistry play that big of a part in looking for a life partner?
Well, it's going to diminish over the years. The older you get, you're going to lose that. So then you got
not necessarily.
Well, you're going to lose your attraction. Like, you are going to just naturally become less attractive, right? And so that's going to diminish. It's not going to be the same as it is your first 6 months in the honeymoon phase when you guys are all fucking all the time, right? Like rabbits. And then all of a sudden it's going to start to diminish. But then you're going to find those other things that are just maybe not as fulfilling, but do fill those holes for you, or you're finding them, in a different way. And that is really rewarding in itself, I think.
Honestly, I think if you're right with the right person, the sexual attraction should come naturally.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be there in the beginning, but moving naturally through the relationship, the sexual attraction will come, especially if you're compatible on all other levels. Maybe you're supposed to be with your best friend because you guys are so compatible everywhere else, but you've just never been sexually attracted to them.
Yeah.
And eventually one day you look at them
different.
And you're like, what have I been missing?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, he wants
and that's, we create relationships with people throughout life, and they change over time. And that person that you may have hated back in high school, that was unattractive, that didn't have any aspirations in life, and then you meet them later on in life and you're like, they still look the same, but they've reached all of these potential goals they had set back then, and you find them sexually attractive now, even though they look the same. It's not that you have changed on what you look for in people. It's they've changed what they've done with their life, and you've become more attracted to them because of their success and not necessarily their looks.
Yeah. Yep.
Honestly, the whole best thing is scary for me because I feel like I've been telling you who I've wanted for my whole life, and you've just been trying to perfect yourself to be that person. So I'm like, why didn't we just start taking things slow in our relationship in the first place?
All right, I have a few questions in the chat that I would love to answer. So Rena Peace asks, how do you deal with stress or anxiety on a daily basis? How I deal with it on a daily basis is when I wake up in the morning, I always tell myself, today is going to be a good day no matter what hurdles I have to jump. Today is going to be a successful day no matter how many trials I'm put through. It's important to wake up and remember we woke up today. We are breathing. We are here. We are able to speak. Maybe we are able to see. Maybe there are some of us that can't, and that's okay. But we are able to interact with this amazing world on a daily basis. And we are going to go out and we are going to meet new people today, and we are going to have good conversations with people. And I always look at it this way. I try not to let anybody diminish my feelings. I try not to allow anybody else's actions to affect me. I went through a really hard time where I allowed all of those things to happen, and my life was so stressful. For the past 3 years, I've lived a pretty stressful life because I just don't allow those things to affect me. Just because somebody does something that I don't like doesn't mean that I really need to worry about it.
Yeah.
So just because somebody's not taking care of their kids the way that I'm taking care of my kids, I don't have to worry about that. That's their life and their problems.
And I think that is one of the hardest things to come to terms with, Mia, is really understanding, like, worry about yourself. You don't need to worry about everybody else. You cannot change somebody. You cannot make somebody like you. You cannot make somebody do things the way you want them to do. There are so many things that you have to come to terms with. And once you do, it's life changing because you stop worrying about all the little nuances on the side, the voices and you're doing something. You just have to go, who cares? I'm happy. I'm enjoying doing what I'm doing. I want to put this picture out because I feel great about myself and I feel proud of maybe I've lost this weight or I've gotten back into working out and I'm doing something that's for me. And so you have to really just take that and put it out there and not worry about what everybody's going to say. And I want to say every morning when I wake up, I get up and I go, it's going to be a great day. And we give 2 claps and every day, and it becomes a habit. And when I don't do it, oh, my day is no good.
Joshua, I really want to talk about your comment, but there are still people out there that still make you feel so insecure and can make you diminish your self-worth in such a situation. What do? Don't allow them to.
Yes.
Their opinions of you do not matter. If you are happy with your life, if you are working towards happiness, you can't allow somebody else's actions or words to affect you. I will tell you this right now. I get called so many names on social media. I get told all the time, I'm an attention seeker. No, I'm not. I enjoy what I do. If you want to watch my videos, great, go for it. If you want to swipe and go past them, I don't care.
But what if you are, Mia? What if you are an attention seeker? What is wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with it. And I agree. There's nothing wrong with it. As long as I'm living my life to be my happy, that's all that matters. And just because somebody else is saying negative things about me doesn't mean I have to believe them. Yeah. Because I see how successful I have been in everything that I've done. I see where I am today because of all of the trials and the hurdles that I've had to jump. Yes. If I didn't have to do all of those things, would I be sitting here talking to you today? Absolutely not.
No. And usually the people that are jumping in to say things or call you names or have an issue with what you're doing are most likely unhappy with themselves and where they are at in their lives. And that somehow feeds them to make you feel worse about yourself.
I live by that. If somebody is negative to me, I'm like, what is going on in their life for them to have that much energy to put it out to me? You know, why do you have to take your time to comment something negative if you're in a good place in your life? Move on, swipe further, watch a different video. There is no reason to negatively comment on somebody's weight, on somebody's looks, on how they dance. There is absolutely no reason whatsoever.
They themselves are attention seekers.
They're jealous.
They're looking
they see
for.
that these people have this following, or they see these people being successful, and they're like, I have not strived to be that successful in my life, and I'm jealous of that person. So I'm going to make fun of them. I'm going to say something negative to try to diminish them and make them feel bad. But allowing those words to affect you is making them successful. So by me not allowing people to say, you know, you're an attention seeker, you do this because you're a whore, or, you know, I've heard some negative things come towards me, but I don't allow those to affect me.
No.
Those are words.
Yes.
Those are things that you don't really need to pay attention to. It is some stranger behind a computer and a keyboard who is not brave enough to come up and say it to your face.
Yep.
Because honestly, if these people said it to my face, they probably wouldn't walk away.
I'll tell you guys a quick secret that I love to use for day-to-day daily stress that most people might overlook, and I'm not recommending it to anyone, but it's something that I use. I take ashwagandha every day. It's actually a really good stress reliever. It's part of like my morning vitamins that I take, but it helps you ignore the daily stress of overthinking that, you know, someone else might be thinking about you. Honestly, they say it's more for the males, but I think it works for both males and females. It's a great feeling to take ashwagandha on the daily.
I love that. And, you know, I want, and TJ, I wanted to touch on there's so many great questions right now in the comment section. And I touch base on the relationship questions because that's more my area of expertise. And so I just wanted to kind of answer a couple of things. And first of all, hey to everybody that's saying hello. That's so awesome. You know, Nelson, you're asking, do we believe in soulmates or just strong compatibility? I don't believe that there is one soulmate for everybody. I cannot imagine that in this entire world, there's only one person out there for you. I believe you can have multiple soulmates, and it starts with the compatibility and chemistry. You have to have both of those. You cannot have one or the other, or you're going to go in a different direction. If it's just chemistry, you're going to end up in a situationship. So you got to have both of those things in order to grow your relationship. And someone you think may not be your soulmate can absolutely turn out to be your soulmate. So you just got to hold tight and get it out of your head that there's only one person. You can have more than one soulmate. People come into your life for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. You just got to figure out why they're there. So
I love that, Andrea. I really do.
Thanks, TJ.
Ruth, I'm going to answer your question. Have you ever stayed in a relationship you knew wasn't right, and why? I am with my high school sweetheart. I've been with him since I was 16 years old. At some points in my life, I thought that it was wrong. At some points in my life, I thought that we were going down the wrong path together. Those were because we were not having open communication. So I think that to have a successful relationship, open communication is important. Do I believe in a soulmate? I believe there is somebody out there for everyone. I don't believe there is one person. I think our world is so populated. I really don't think that there is just one person. I do believe that there is a soulmate out there for you, but I don't believe that that soulmate is one person. I think because we are not transient anymore and we are sedentary and we stay in one place, that we miss a lot of opportunities to meet those soulmates, and we look in all the wrong places. So I think that if you are just having a really shitty time dating and these dating apps aren't working for you and going to the bars are not working for you, if you can move with your job, move with your job. If you can't move with your job, look for something else and move to a different area. I know it's not financially able for everyone, but I really, really do think that we're not supposed to be sedentary. I believe we are supposed to be transient people and travel with the weather and wherever we feel more comfortable. So I feel like as a society, we miss a lot of love opportunities for our soulmates. And, you know, there's a lot of people that do believe in soulmates, and they're polyamorous because they believe, like me, and they believe there's more than one soulmate that you can have. And some people just love more than others. So open relationships in the polyamory, when you feel like you need more than one love, is also an option. But like I've said before, communication, 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 communication. If there is no communication in your relationship will not be successful. And Abba, Joshua, I'm going to answer your question last, and then we're going to let somebody else talk. Hold on, I got to go up one. Oh no, I got to find it again. Okay. What is the best way to fix a broken relationship? I think we just went over that, and this is why I'm going to answer this really quickly. Communication. If you guys are communicating properly and your relationship is still broken, then maybe you guys are just not meant to be together, and that's okay. Sometimes we get with people that we think we're meant to be with, and it's not successful. The fighting happens because we're not communicating properly. You know, financial stability is important. If this person is hopping from job to job to job, no, your relationship isn't going to work, because everybody wants that financial stability in their relationship. Everybody wants full success in their relationship. So when we're getting on these dating apps, guys, we've got to remember, are we financially stable? Is this out of our budget in order to do it? Are we looking for somebody that's financially stable, or are we just looking for a hookup?
I would love to answer Johnny Ezekiel's answer, actually. He said, as a man, is it advisable to love a girl with all your heart? Honestly, yes. But love to your limits. That's where I stand on it. If you can provide all your heart to your single relationship, do it. But if you can't, love to your limits.
Love that, TJ. And I want to jump in on a couple of things as well. Something, Mia, that you stress on is if you're going through a hard time and you're feeling like the dating apps aren't working, you're not meeting anybody, and it's just really stressful and you're feeling really anxious, take a break. Yes. Just take a break and focus on you. Do everything that you want to do. Binge some favorite show that you want. Eat all the pizza and the chicken wings that you want to do. Go on vacation by yourself. There are so many things that you can do to kind of recenter yourself and refocus and get back out there when you're ready to do that. Because if you're trying to do that and you're coming in as somebody who is like, oh, I got to find my person, and you're crazy, you're just going crazy looking for them, that's when you got to stop and go, wait a second, I am not in an emotionally available place to have that kind of relationship because I'm so anxious to meet somebody. It's just going to happen. You're just going to find that person when you find them. So I think that's really important to remember that. And you guys have so many great questions today.
I know. I think we really need to hit on points, though. Is it advisable to be totally open and truthful in a relationship, or is keeping something to yourself like family issues? I am big on communication. I did not come from the greatest family. I hid a lot of things for a long time, too. Now that we've been openly communicating for so many years, we've learned a lot of new things because we were both doing that in the beginning. So I think it's really important from the beginning, from that first date, to be completely honest. Open honesty, openly communicating, making sure that you're checking love languages. You know, if you like getting gifts bought for you, don't be with somebody that doesn't like buying gifts. You know, if you require admiration and being told that you are amazing, find somebody that's going to be able to do that.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. And also, you know, somebody's asking, what's a green flag that you look for instantly in someone? You know, I think that's a great question. What is the green flag that you're looking for? Somebody to mean what they say and say what they mean. Someone to be authentic and true, and that you can hear it and you can see it in their Their actions line up with their words. That's where it all begins. When stuff is all falling off, they're dropping little breadcrumbs for you and making you think that you're in something and you're constantly chasing, but they're never actually giving you something in return. That's not the right relationship for you. That is a red flag. So move on. That's what I say.
I agree. Johnny says, my girlfriend went ahead and had intercourse with my best friend. What should be my reaction? Johnny, your reaction is your reaction. It is a deeply emotional thing. If it is not something that you guys had openly communicated with and you consented to also, then I think it is important for you guys to sit down and have that conversation. You know, why did you do this? Are you willing to work on this? Maybe couples counseling, if you want to stay with her. There is always that option when you are openly cheated on, and if you're not consenting, that is openly cheating. I think it's important that we feel secure in our relationships, and when people cheat, we don't feel secure. If you are in an open relationship and you are both consenting to her going out and having sex with your best friend, then by all means, keep doing it. It's all in what you feel. We're human beings. We have true feelings. And when we feel those feelings is in the very, very beginning when it happens. Those are what we truly feel. And if you were hurt by it, be hurt by it. If you're okay with it, be okay with it. But it's important to take into account those big feelings you had when you found out. How did it make you feel? If it happens again, are you going to feel the same way? Are you going to feel worse?
Where's the trust at this point?
Right.
Not only in the friend, but in the girlfriend. Now you've entered into this phase. Anytime you guys go out and you're left, you walk out of the room and the two of them are left alone, where's your head at on that? So your mental stability is what needs to come into play first before anything else. If that means letting go of both of them, then that's what that means. Put you first.
Yes, and for Rena Pieces question on how do you balance independence and togetherness in a relationship? You should definitely establish that in the beginning. Your boundaries, communicating how much time you're willing to spend with someone is very key.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Agreed. Have you ever been in love for real or just deep infatuation?
I've been
on all spectrums of love within my relationship, but I'm going to let these two answer that question.
I have definitely been in love, and I think, I was married, first of all, so at some point I was, even though I'm divorced, but I was in love again after that, and it was just, it felt different than anything else had felt. It was almost consuming. And so I think that, yes, you can absolutely be in love, whether you see that as just a deep infatuation or actually being in love, that's up to you. It's however you want to look at it. Some people say they've been in love multiple times, and that can happen.
All right, guys, it is that time again, but don't worry. We'll be back next week with an amazing Father's Day special. It's our first one. So come back next week. We'll answer more of your questions in the chat. Again, we are back on Sundays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's make sure we're taking care of ourselves this week. And I will see you guys all next week on Tangled Heartstrings. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
is found in the light of day. The violin sings as the credits roll, a melody soft, it soothes the soul. Tangled heartstrings, we'll find our way through life and love, come what may.